The following changes have occurred over the past 24 hours. Fighting continues in the Kharkiv direction. In the area of Simonovka, Russian combat groups are conducting large-scale events in the adjacent forest area. The enemy does not take active actions, hold up on the defensive. The front line is leveling off in a positive direction, slightly to the north. In the southeastern part of Volchansk, the presence of the enemy is recorded for at least the third time. In one action, the Russian side hit the Ukrainian armed forces shelter. The footage clearly shows that the processing was carried out in winter. In another, slightly to the east, the Ukrainian deuce was hiding in a small building. The military used kamikaze drones and artillery fire to clear the position. The Ukrainian armed forces decided to change their location. We moved to the outermost buildings. Russian operators have used an FPV drone on them. In addition to the drones, artillery processing was also carried out. The presence of the Russian side has not yet been noted at the site under review. The line of contact is shifting. In Volchansk farms, assault groups in clashes continue to knock the enemy out of households every day. During the day, 8 buildings were occupied. In the area from the Volchansk farms to the dugout, UAV aircraft regularly hit enemy manpower and equipment. Near Rybalkin in the forest, pilots covered the Ukrainian armed forces with 2 Fab 500s. This forest is a border forest. The possibility of Ukrainian reconnaissance groups entering the territory of the Belgorod region is being prevented. The enemy's unmanned points are also being actively identified. A UAV control point was found in the southwestern part of Volochovka. Russian operators have deployed FPV drones. They eventually destroyed it. It helps the infantry so that the fighters are less likely to fall under Ukrainian drones. Over the past day, the enemy's losses in the North Group's area of responsibility in this direction amounted to 110 people. 12 UAV control points were destroyed. There is still active fighting in the Konstantinovka area. In the city, operators continue to monitor the supply routes of the armed forces of Ukraine. A drone was flying in the northeastern part. A destroyed armored vehicle is visible in the footage. Since her injury was not recorded anywhere, this indicates a relatively recent event. The drone flew a little further for a U-turn, where the eliminated other pieces of equipment on the same route are visible. For the enemy, it is one of the main ones. The drone itself was aiming at a pickup truck. After the U-turn, having eliminated it, the second drone was the finishing one. On the left flank, jet fighters and gunners, in cooperation with the troops of unmanned systems, clear the way for combat groups. In the southern part of Ilyanovka, the enemy entered the building. The cannon artillery crew, having received this information, destroyed their points of deployment. At least 3 attacks on other points of the armed forces of Ukraine were carried out near this place. Heavy work is also underway on the Ukrainian armed forces, slightly to the north, but already in Konstantinovka. In this event, the Ukrainian 5 moved from the eastern side, where they later occupied buildings. The gunners destroyed their accommodation points with shots. One of the hits is shown. Examples were considered with calculations of barrel artillery. In the same area, the Grad rocket launchers covered the Ukrainian forces. The drones were recorded. Infantry advance is being ensured in order to further approach that part of Konstantinovka through Velinovka. To the south, the warriors are systematically cleaning up the space on the approaches to the southern part of the city. In addition, combat groups are fighting in the southwestern part of the city. Fighting continues in the Zaporizhzhia area. Russian troops engaged Ukrainian forces in the area of Cherbakov and Grigorovka with complex fire. They helped the fighters to close the pocket and further cover Orekov from the western side. In the Grigorovka area, so that the enemy would transfer less reserves to the Primorsky area. Operators also actively assist. A Ukrainian quadcopter was flying over the central part of Stepnogorsk. A military battering ram neutralized him. The Ukrainian side, in order to maintain its presence in the northern part of Primorsky, regularly sends 2s or 3s there. There are battles going on with the gradual advance of the Russian side. In the area of Cossack Lopan, veterinarians began to regularly record the defeat of Ukrainian forces. About a week ago, Ukrainian armed forces deployment points were discovered in 5-story buildings. The Fabami 500 pilots destroyed them. 2 videos related to the same later event appeared online yesterday. One is shown where the footage is seen from a closer drone. The dilapidated house is already visible. The enemy in the form of the 22nd Brigade is still clinging to him. The aircraft struck again with 3 bombs on the same 5-story building. The house has already become more destroyed, which is fully used by the armed forces. This village is located near the border. On this sector of the front, the soldiers are in the Sotnitsky Cossack village. At the moment, the site is not yet a priority. The fighting continues.